fond et bouillon. A fond is the French word for stock, and it literally means the basis, because stock is the basis of so many things in the culinary world. Now, you're firstly going to define your stock in terms of the animal from which it's derived. Un fond de veau is a beef stock, veau being the word for veal. A fond de volaille is a poultry stock. The basic recipe for either of these is animal bones, mirepoix, which is finely diced vegetables, typically celery, leek, onion, and carrots, and a sachet, which is like a tea bag into which we put herbs like parsley, thyme, a bay leaf, and traditionally peppercorns. So the first adjustment you're going to make to your AIP version of stock is removing peppercorns from your sachet. Easy. When making chicken stock in a restaurant setting, the pot would typically simmer for 36 hours. When it came to beef stock, it was typically simmering for a minimum of 72 hours. So these were pots, vats really, that were just always bubbling away in the corner, and the responsibility of skimming any impurities off of the top of the surface of the water was passed from the lunch crew to the dinner crew and back over the course of that time. In a private setting, you can of course make huge amounts of stock and boil them for those long lengths of time, or you can use the latest miracle device, which is a pressure cooker, like the Instant Pot. When I make stock, I do it in the Instant Pot and I set it for high pressure for 3 hours. Now, one of the most technical aspects of making stock actually happens when it comes time to remove it from the heat. Hygiene rules dictate that food substances remain in the danger zone, which is between 4 and 60 degrees, for as little time as possible. And so allowing a large pot of boiling liquid to cool down on its own, it's not going to be food safe. Now, in the restaurant with the big vats, it was a far more elaborate process, but for our purposes, I'm going to show you how I deal with my stocks when they've finished cooking. Essentially, the goal is to cool the liquid as quickly as possible, get it through that danger zone and dispersed into smaller portions in whatever kind of container you're going to store them in the fridge or the freezer. So that might be 1 gallon size jar, several 1 liter jars, a good number of smaller jars, or it might be ice cubes. Whatever the case, you want to time the end of the cooking time with a moment where you have some time to deal with the stock. I typically plan to commit about 30 minutes. Here's how I do it.